How's it going, everybody? Today's video is going to be about the pit bike backfiring. After I got my muffler put back on, you could hear that my exhaust was backfiring quite a lot. And I mentioned closer to the end of that video that I did end up fixing it, but I didn't film it. Then I started to think later on that, maybe some of you, maybe you're having the same problem, or maybe you just want to know exactly how I cleared that up. So today I figured, why not show you? If you have a pit bike that is backfiring, that is a sign that there is air getting into the exhaust somewhere. And for me, there's only two places that could be happening. First one would be right here where my muffler slides onto my exhaust. If my clamp was loose or something like that and air was leaking in, that would cause backfiring. Now, in my previous video, I had just put my muffler back on the exhaust and I tightened the clamp down. So I knew that all of this right here was super tight. So for me, I knew that this was not where the backfiring was coming from. So I knew the only other place that it could have been coming from is right here at the head pipe. I had previously loosened these up a little bit, so my exhaust had a little bit of give in it, just to make it easier to put my muffler back on. Now I had already tightened these back down after I put my muffler back on. However, with the backfiring, that told me that there was still air getting in the exhaust, and I just didn't have them tight enough. So then from that point, I had to get out, of course, my trusty sockets and just tighten these nuts back down. There's two of them. There's one right here in the front, and then there's one right back here. It's a little bit harder to get to. So like I said, I just tightened those down, made sure they were nice and snug so that no air could get through there. And then I just tested the bike. I started it, revved it a couple of times, rode it around, and it cleared all of the backfiring up. This is something that you need to check regularly anyway, because these nuts right here on your head pipe will tend to loosen up over time just because of all the vibration of riding around. That's a good maintenance tip. You should really go through and check these and make sure they're nice and tight at all times, because they do like to come loose. And if you've tightened down your head pipe and you still have some backfiring, then you should just go back and check your muffler and make sure it's placed all the way down correctly on the exhaust pipe. Make sure your clamp, if that's what you have, is nice and tight. And that should clear up all the backfiring. At least it did for me. It was a super simple fix, just had some things that were loose. I haven't had any backfiring since then. I did actually replace this clamp. I know in the other video, if you watched it, you saw that I put the clamp that came with it back on there. I just didn't really like it. I didn't want to have to worry about it coming off anymore. Didn't like the way it fit, so I just put a different one on there. It's literally the exact same thing. It's just a better quality clamp. And that is all for this week's video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you got some useful information out of it, and I will see you next week.